Oh, it's a video. Clara's sitting on a tree. Woo! Matty and Scarlett are here talking. Yeah, it's also a video. There's the castle where our boss used to live. Matty. You having fun, Maddie?
It's all coloured in my mind. Maui is chameleon green, vibrant, unseen, unreal, even as you look at it. But now I'm in the highlands and it's blue. My shirt is blue, my jeans are blue, and so is my headscarf, my eyes, my mood. Not melancholic, more rich and more full and rolling than Crayola dubbed cerulean, blue. I keep thinking of Benigno and all the things I threw up and at him over the years. How I feel the letter is long overdue. How it's been 3 years since I last wrote openly, and my pen has remained poised ever since. I think it's okay that I unfollow them now. I feel ambivalence in my bones in a new way since landing here, like I can move on even as I remember them. They have a place in the past now and it's fine. I'm fine with that. I don't care what they do with their Sundays or their holidays, but the Wi-Fi is abysmally shit, and so my lackluster efforts to sweep the long dead leaves provokes a rage that halts the collection mid-motion. I'll get to it soon enough. It feels like exhaling. Also, seeing 3 people share the same picture for a week straight is so 2016. I never ran into them in Plymouth, but I did see Connor move from stranger to someone I spent 5 years growing up with, which was weird. My door is always open. I find I have nothing to hide. I'm not embarrassed by my existence anymore, which is nice. I don't feel the need to be anything other than what I am, and seeing the need to hide spring up from my neighbour provokes the need to shake up. But I know people aren't seasonings, and vigorous motion only makes one nauseous, so I'll leave it to her to be who she is and shut my mind down in a way, thinking it's up to me to say anything at all. Silence is hard for someone who's been precocious since birth. Even worse when she's accepted her mind was never her flaw, her conviction always her biggest gift. I've written a lot about the wind and the birds, which feels pathetic when read aloud with even a hint of the earnest sincerity with which it was written. I cringe at my point of view when it's so marred by an obsession with seeing the beautiful in everything. I can't seem to let things be ugly, and honesty always hides in metaphor. I've been listening to Jensen McRae ever since I saw Maisie Peters share her song called Massachusetts on Insta. It hit me without hurting because I could walk in the woods and pretend the boy I knew from the same state loved me the same way, even though we all knew by now it never got close to that kind of cosmic intimacy. I've decided I'm not haunted by anyone anymore, in fact. It's all become a sort of consensual memory that I bring out when I need to feel inspired again. And I really love that. Except I'm reminded of the paper I wrote for the bullshit class on feminism, taught by a teacher with a stick for an arse, lips pursed, pinched with the haughty New England commitment to perceived superiority gained by knowing more than your neighbour. It's also fucking dishonest and laughable at the same time. I'll write eulogies for the kids still genuinely believe their worth is determined by the pricks in leather and the silent imagination of American capital accumulation. And once again, I'm on an existential tangent, and my judgment is anything but hidden. But as I said, my door is open. When I landed here, I had an anxiety build in my ribs like a group of caffeinated toddlers, punching my gut in organs I can't name because I don't think they exist, with a fear I couldn't quite reach and a pain I couldn't cure. Because the feeling was somewhere in between my spleen and my skin, and all the organic matter said all was fine, but I couldn't eat, and I couldn't speak, and I couldn't smile. Also, chefs work ridiculous hours. Like genuinely ridiculous, seriously unhinged. I still hate the things I make. That's not new. I remember beginning I wrote about my anxiety when I handed things in, but that's also because I usually wrote things the day before and felt like the rushed retelling of my fantasies fell short of the projected perfection destined for a person I'll never be. It's funny how I fumbled that sentence. I hate being embodied sometimes, and I feel like my mind makes a much better job of existing than the real deal could ever fathom. Except I feel closer than ever to my ideal, aesthetic-wise at least, and I know I'm a version of myself that's very close to being someone her younger self would pin on Pinterest, like one of those unlucky butterflies stuck behind glass. 12th of June 2024, further down the track. Because what do you actually want your life to feel like? Why are you so prone to panic, pause, pretend, so addicted to make-believe? If I could take one thing away from my life, it'd be my tendency to dissociate, to stimulate my mind with made-up problems, to give myself something to solve. I like solving problems, but to create and resolve solely in a made-up mindscape is to disarm the wonder of life happening right now. You're sovereign in breath. Breathing in, I'm here. Breathing out, breathing in, I'm here. I've lived in 17 houses in 23 years, and I wonder why I can't sit still or see anything through. I've never had to. Sown a million seeds and never seen a single one bloom. I'm still here, even if I hold my breath too long and keep my diaphragm too still. I feel like an artist on residency, still barely breathing. The birds are playing their pianos again, and I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to sing along. I miss the birds when I'm gone behind the glass dome I built years ago. Clear and seeing, yet silent, still screaming. I hope to stop using glass walls to forsake real life for my rotting make-believe, my mischievous, devious child's tricks. I'm here. I don't need that fear anymore. Panic need no longer knock at my door. I am here. I am moved. I've got a big case of concern about Big Brother. I feel like someone's watching me. Hopefully it's just the birds. I actually don't even know where to begin. I went to bed at 10 p.m. for the first time last night in a really long time and woke up ridiculously early and decided to go on a walk. But my walk sort of turned into just frustrated musings because I feel like my life is very unbalanced right now. I keep moving around searching for something and then getting there and completely stopping working towards that feeling or whatever it is I'm searching for. I'll go to a place and be like, oh, I want to do this, and then I get there and I just don't do it. I also have just been reflecting on like, why am I here more broadly? Like, why do I put so much effort into everyone and everything else and not any effort into me? But then at the same time I'm kind of like, well, it's kind of hard to put effort into something that doesn't exist or you don't know what you want, you know? This is kind of rambling. Sorry, this is giving diuretic ramble. I meant diuretic like diary, but also vom for sure. It's a beautiful morning. That's all I can say. And I don't know, what do I actually want? I want to live somewhere I can cook my own food. That would be nice. Also thinking about getting a camping stove so I can kind of cook my own food here. Basically, I'm on like a meal plan sort of thing where they cook 2 meals a day, but there's no kitchen. So I can't really cook outside of that. I want to grow my own food. I want to get a dog. Part of me is like thinking about looking into art courses just so then it's like I have a banister to hold on to, and I feel like if I'm having structure and accountability to make art more robustly or externally, then it might facilitate the art making because I would have to do it. I don't know. Also, hey, how are you? I don't know, my manager has asked me a couple times if I'm happy here, and I keep just being like, yeah, because like objectively I am. And I think that's also something I have to remember, you know? But I also think it's important to not just be like, yeah, I'm happy, so therefore all of these things that maybe I could improve if I had a conversation about don't matter. No, like I should still maybe have the conversation, especially about balance, because I want to have time to do stuff like this. Be a worm. But oh my gosh, I'm getting chowed on by midgies. I am overall having fun. I hope you are too. Or whatever. I feel like fun's just a placeholder for not actively wanting to end this experience, question mark. This is kind of like wherever you go, if you work in this industry, it's gonna be like this, and that's kind of why I'm like, why am I here? My thinking was, okay, I was like, so I graduated and I was like, oh, well, I don't want to get a quote-unquote grown-up job because I don't want to be tied to a quote-unquote grown-up job where I won't have time to do anything for myself. But now I'm tied to ridiculous shift patterns in the middle of nowhere, still putting effort into something else, and I'm not using my brain, which is kind of frustrating me. I'm using my brain a bit, but like once you get the hang of it, at the end of the day, you ask them what they want to eat, you put it in the till, and then you take it out to them. I'm not having to like actively think and problem solve to the extent that I like to, but then at the same time, I really wanted a break when I graduated uni from like thinking about things that aren't really grounded to reality. I realized I really like solving problems, but I was listening to this video. I can't remember what it's called. It was like Why Women Are Angry or something like this. And I don't know, she just kind of talked about how like female qualities are so tied. It's stunning. Can I just say, I'm staring at the other aisles like across the lock and it's just beautiful. Like, this is wild. But anyway, they're talking about like female qualities, problem solving, and how we like always just do more than we should to be seen as less than. Feminist run. But I don't know, I just kind of was like, shit, like I'm really seeing this. And I think I realized in my head there's like almost this moral or karmic reward for working harder than you have to. And it's kind of like hard to explain unless you're in the situation. Like, this might sound really tangential and not that deep if you're not in the situation, and I completely understand that, but like I'm just kind of ranting about the situation right now or trying to explain it to myself, you know, in a fun welcome to my channel way. What I really want to do in terms of accountability, oh no, I left my string here, I don't want to litter, is relax, ask for 2 regular days off, chill the fuck out, because it's also like I move around a lot, and I have moved around a lot, but after a few weeks it's really just the same old mirror showing the same old face. And I think that's really what I'm frustrated at, is like, why are you still doing this? Like, can we not, like, if you want to do other things, you need to do them. Me, at myself. So here I am. I also think it's interesting living on site because like you do become friends with these people, and I do really love them, but it's also like the same situation where I get so caught up in like, oh, like let's hang out, let's do this, blah blah blah, and then it's again like last night, I'm so glad I just went to bed at 10 p.m. I would not be here if I did not go to bed at 10 p.m. and I have so much peace in my head, which is so nice. I know maybe it doesn't look like it, maybe it looks like I'm a crumpet breaking down, crumbling on the sideboard, but I do actually feel good. Like, it feels nice to be able to vocalize what you need and what's bothering you, and not just continue on frazzled. I have like a love-hate relationship with YouTube because vlogging just feels really weird to me, in that I'm like, here I am. I'm kind of trying to incorporate more of my writing and stuff like that, and like make it more of a place where I can express my hobbies rather than just this is this, or like this is what I did today, but more like this is how I see things. I think that's so much more interesting than like, look at this. I think it's more interesting to be like, see what I'm seeing in this moment, you know, how to externalize yourself in whatever you create and how you live your life. Like, I think that's just amazing, and I find that so interesting when I'm seeing that in other people. I don't know, the way we live is kind of really boring to me generally. When I first came here, I was like super anxious, and you'll kind of see that in the things I wrote about and the clips that I'm gonna put in and all that, particularly around men. Like, I literally walked into a kitchen full of men and I was like, please let me get out of here, because I realized I kind of avoided large groups of men for much of my life, which was real fun. So it was kind of confronting to come to that, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, like, not necessarily these are safe people, because like I don't know them that well, but we can be friends and I'm not gonna die. If you know, you know. So yeah, I'm trying to also think about it a little bit more holistically, because I've actually written about this in my diary before, but it's like almost like as soon as you learn something or you grow a little bit, you're like, why was that ever a thing? This is like not a thing at all. I'm fine. And that's a symptom of growth, not a symptom that you haven't done anything. You just feel like more comfortable in yourself, which is good. But I forget to give myself credit for that, you know? And I'm like, okay, next thing. What now? Why am I here? And I was also reflecting quite a bit on like how moving around, I think I lived in like 17 houses in 6 countries, how moving around that much, it's like, gets boring really quickly being in the same place. But that's me, you know what I mean? And that's my historical pattern. It's so Simon and Garfunkel. It's so beautiful. Kind of just want to leave the rock there. It's like everything everywhere all at once.